for their best run in the WSL. There is plenty of cheer for Carla Ward's in-form Aston Villa. Now the scalp of the defending champions in their sights, looking to beat Chelsea for the first time in the league. She makes one change, Lincoln Brown comes in. And what a week for Emma Hayes' Chelsea, giving everything to make the Champions League semis. Can they go again in their pursuit of a fourth WSL title in as many seasons? Hayes has made more changes than anyone else in her starting 11, with 5 from... And Chelsea actually starting fourth after Katie McCabe scored a stunner as Arsenal came from behind to beat Manchester City. Manchester United top of the table as it stands. Brilliant celebrations for Arsenal then. Chelsea need a win to keep up the title fight. The Villains, no mugs, looking to beat the defending champions for the first time. Kick-off less than 15 minutes away. Evening all, what a Sunday dessert we've got for you in the company of Kelly Smith and Sue Smith. Let's get straight to it then and hear from the Chelsea boss, Emma Hayes. She said it's been an exhausting week. How's she faring tonight with Lindsay?
Emma, 5 changes from the last game, and it looks like some of those are enforced, that you haven't had much choice in those, but are you happy with your starting 11?
Absolutely. You know, this is the freshest team we could pick, and you know, we do have a few knocks, but I trust the dressing room, and it's important that for the work they do in the background, that everybody's ready today, and I'm sure they will be.
The team that took points off you last weekend, Manchester City, have been beaten earlier today. It makes that leading pack look so tight. And I know going into every weekend we're probably going to talk about this, but are you keeping a handle on that yourself?
You ask my staff, they'll tell you I won't know 1 week from the next. Things like league positions, because for me it's just wasted energy. I think we all know that it's going to be a fight for the finish, for the top 3, as well as winning the league between 4 clubs, and I think it will be that way all the way to the end.
We're talking about energy, Kelly. Maybe they need to channel a little bit of Arsenal against Manchester City today.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, what a week to be an Arsenal fan, beating Bayern Munich to get to the semi-finals of the Champions League and coming from behind against City. They scored early, and then you see Marnham there equalising. And then, you know, Katie McCabe doing what she does best from a corner. You know, she was out after the Bayern game on crutches in a boot, and then she comes out with an absolute screamer to put the 3 points in Arsenal's favour, which they needed. It was a fantastic performance, a leggy performance the first half, but somehow they found energy second half, and we saw a different team. Jennifer Beattie come on, shored it up with 20-odd minutes to go, so it was a fantastic performance and the crucial 3 points.
And I mentioned they need to channel a bit of that, Chelsea. They their own Katie McCabe in Guru Wright, and I don't know who will like that comparison more, but you know, that player that will give everything for you.
Yeah, and she's super consistent as well. I think every time she performs, you know that she's going to provide assists, goals, her energy, her work rate. She's tenacious, and I think sometimes in games like this you need players like Guru Wright and that can step up and maybe be that spark, exactly like what Katie McCabe did. She's a player, because they've obviously played Champions League, they'll be a little bit leggy, emotionally drained, but she's certainly a player that you look and you go, right, she's on the team sheet, she's going to make something happen today.
One of those players as well that can play in different positions, and that's demanded from Emma Hayes this season. One of the other changes, I mentioned the 5 changes from that win on Thursday for Chelsea, is Musovic in goal. What's she going to give this Chelsea side tonight?
Well, Emma Hayes is so lucky because she's got 2 fantastic goalkeepers. You know, she likes to rotate. Musovic played a lot early on in the season, and then obviously saw Berger with her heroic saves in the Champions League to get them through. But this player here, she's very good with her feet, very composed, can play out from the back. And I believe that's why she's in the side today, just to bring that little confidence, you know, with her feet and just starting off attacks from back.
We reflected on Arsenal today after that match midweek. For Chelsea after Thursday, yeah, they've tried to take the emotion out of it and refocus. Is there any better manager than Emma Hayes at doing that?
I don't think so. She's obviously got experience of dealing with things like that. They've got players that have experience as well, because I think it's bound to have affected them emotionally, physically. You can see by the changes that she's had to make. But those players that have come in, you know, they know that this is an opportunity for them. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? you have to rotate sometimes because of the amount of games. You want to be in all of these competitions. That's what Chelsea are. And these players will look at it as like, OK, we're going to keep our place and hopefully we'll be playing in that next round of the Champions League.
It's not bad quality, is it, as well? You know, she talks about having a thin squad, but those changes that she makes, they're all quality players to be able to bring in.
Yeah, they are. You know, Kankovic is coming into the middle of the park. Watched her play against Reading. She got player of the match. She just slotted straight in. Canared, an experienced player going up and down the right. Jessie Fleming, you know, she's used to playing in those areas. So even though they've made 5 changes, you know, I still expect a real front-footed approach from Chelsea with Wrighton also, like Sue said, the most assists. And I think, you know, Staniforth's potentially going to be playing right back, so it's a new match-up for them. Staniforth's not used to playing at right back, so if I was Wrighton, most assists, I'm going to look to get at Staniforth and get those crosses in for Kerr.
And then, you know, you can bring Lauren James on.
Yeah. But that's the thing, and they have got injuries, and they've had injuries to key players that they've had to try and overcome this season, because we spoke about Arsenal's losing key players, so of Chelsea, and they've had to do that. And yes, they have got a good squad. Yes, it's a thin squad now, but you look at the bench and you say, well, if things aren't quite going right, you go and bring Lauren James on and she can change things.
Is it naive to say, or, you know, we're going to talk about Villa in a minute, but this is the one that Chelsea could slip up, given all that we've just explained?
You never know. Villa in the form of their life, they're connecting right now. This is potentially the best time for Aston Villa to play Chelsea, coming off the back of those 120 minutes. They're in form. Rachel Daly's on fire. So, yeah, they'll be licking their lips at this one.
We're going to talk about Daly in a minute. It is brilliant, the WSL at the moment. Here, confirmation of the results today. And it's not just the top of the table, which, of course, we're focusing on tonight. But look at that win for Leicester. There were 12 minutes added on. It was 90 plus 5 that they got the win in that to lift them off the bottom of the WSL table with that 2-1 win over Reading. It was a 5 o'clock kick-off between West Ham and Liverpool, 0-0 at the moment. And of course, it all started with Arsenal beating Manchester City. We have spoken at length about Chelsea then, but it is actually Aston Villa who are the informed team in the league at the moment. Can they take that form into this match and Carla Ward get one over on her old mate? We're at Aston Villa, where a daily dose of goals is just what boss Carla Ward ordered. Rachel Daly has 3 goals and 2 assists in the last 4 WSL matches and makes her 50th WSL appearance today. Not bad, is it, for the defender, turned striker, turned defender, who can do anything. Let's hear from her boss.
You will have heard the narrative coming into this. Given the form that Aston Villa have been in, you're being spoken about as having a say in where the title goes this season. Have you bought into that?
Look, we owe it to the division and every team that's in the title race to do as best we can in all of those games, and we'll do exactly that. But look, we're up against what I would call mentality monsters tonight. They're exceptional, so it's going to be tough, we know that, but we're in good form ourselves, so we'll certainly try and play a part.
And picking up on your good form, what is it, do you think, that has clicked in these last few games?
I'm not too sure. It's interesting you say that, because I thought we were terrible last week, and we actually I think the girls actually thought that as well. So yeah, it's about, I think it's more about belief and an attitude and a confidence around the group at the minute, and I think everyone wants to look after each other. So yeah, I think belief plays a big part.
Lindsay Hooper with the questions. Is it as simple, this form table, that they've got Rachel Daly, she's come into form, she's scoring them goals, Kelly?
No, Rachel Daly's a fantastic player. We've seen that all season long. Obviously, the signing of Jordan Nobbs and the connection that Daly and Darley have. They like to play on the front foot, high pressing, and we saw that against Manchester City when they beat them and drew against them. So, yeah, they're in great form, and like I said before, this is the game that they want, because they feel like they can knock Chelsea off their perch tonight.
And I think the fact that Carla Ward said belief, I think that's a huge thing. I think you're bringing in players, yes, with quality, but also that winning mentality. Jordan Nobbs, she's used to winning, knows how to win. Rachel Daly, exactly the same. So I think it's a combination of things. The fact that they do press high, aggressively, intensively, that's exactly what Manchester City did to Chelsea, and it worked. So you'd expect them to do exactly the same today.
Can't believe they're going to play each other like our first game of the weekend in the FA Cup semi-final as well. I mean, Chelsea have so many games coming up. We know they get on well, these two managers. Think they were having a little word before, trying to psych each other out beforehand?
Oh, of course. There's got to be a few little mind games going on, hasn't there?
Never. Where does this one go, Kelly, do you think? Who wins it?
You know what? It's tough, because obviously Chelsea played that intense quarter-final in the Champions League. They're going to be tired emotionally and physically. They only had 3 days recovery. I'm sure all of that was done in the gym or off feet, a walk through. So Emma Hayes will have them prepared though, but I feel like this is Aston Villa's night tonight. It's do or die for them. This is the best opportunity to beat a Chelsea side that, for me, is a little bit weakened tonight.
She's done you a favour.
Yeah,
I'm going to ask you to. You can say whether she's right or not come half time and at full time as well. Right, Villa and Chelsea love a first half goal. 21 each this season, 2 more than anyone else. That'll warm up. Julie Flaherty is alongside Henry.
Yes, thanks, Caroline. Well, Chelsea are standing at the gateway to greatness. The treble is on. The Champions League dream is on. Now they must keep marching on if they are to have their Hollywood ending. Well, let's take a check on the teams for you, and Carla Ward has lost all 5 league games as a manager against Chelsea. Is tonight the night that changes for Carla Ward? Hannah Hampton goes hunting her first clean sheet against Chelsea in the WSL. Lucy Staniforth moves to right back with Sarah Mailing still out injured. Maz Pacheco plays game number 50 for Aston Villa. Laura Blinkiller-Brown is drafted into midfield. Alongside her is Kenza Darley, who's been a growing influence on this team. Rachel Daly is striking fear into defences up and down this line. She's on 21 goals for the season. Not a bad return for England's left back. 17-year-old Evie Rabjohn, who started last week, drops to the Villa bench. Well, Emma Hayes changes almost half of the team as Chelsea try to manage this busy schedule. Zacira Mušević replaces one of Thursday night's heroes and Katrin Berger in goal. There's still no Millie Bright, so Magdalena Eriksson and Kanisha Buchanan continue their partnership at centre-back. Neve Charles moves to right-back. Jessie Fleming and Sophie Ingle replace Erin Cuthbert and Melanie Leopold at the heart of Chelsea's midfield. Guro Reiten is bang in form right now with 5 goals in her last 9 games. Sam Kerr goes hunting the 50th goal of her WSL career. She's got 5 in 5 against Aston Villa. Lauren James is amongst the Chelsea substitutes. So Emma Hayes up against her big pal Carla Ward. She's a mentor to Carla Ward. Now Carla Ward looks to bring Emma Hayes crashing back down to earth. So Chile, Rachel Daly will lead the Aston Villa attack. How difficult is she to stop?
Yeah, she's very difficult. I know playing against her. You know, she's a very physical player. She chases down every ball. She won't give the Chelsea defenders any time to breathe tonight. She's just constant, like she don't stop. So she'll be huge. Obviously for Villa tonight, she's chasing Bunny Shaw with a goal. So she's going to want to get a goal tonight.
And leading the line for Chelsea is Sam Kerr. Of course she always plays. How impressed have you been with what she's done in a Chelsea shirt?
Yeah, so impressed. I think on Thursday, obviously against Leon, I think she did look a little bit tired. That's because she's playing so much. You know, since losing Fran Kirby, she's had to step up, and she's been brilliant for her. She's only 1 goal short now, 50 goals in the WSL, which is huge for Chelsea. And she'll want to get that tonight.
Louise Saunders is the referee. We are right at the side of the M6 at the Bescot Stadium in Warsaw, the home of Aston Villa's women's team. And it will be they to get us underway against Chelsea. Louise Saunders is the referee. Good crowd inside the stadium as well. It's a tight, compact ground right at the side of the motorway. Both teams send the message, no discrimination against anyone. So April is here, the games get harder, the schedule tougher. Champions step forward and deal with it. And after taking down the champions of Europe on Thursday, now Chelsea must go again. Different competition, different problems. Standing in front of them is a fearless, vibrant Aston Villa who want to give them a red-hot welcome to the Midlands. And Villa could be the destroyer of dreams. They face Chelsea tonight and in the FA Cup in a couple of weeks' time. That's Buchanan, picked up by Darley, who will look to try and release Rachel Daly. They have such a good partnership, those two.
Yeah, so good. I mean, obviously they're at the top with the amount of combinations as well with goals. So they've grown. You know, obviously the longer they play with each other. Obviously they had a brief spell at West Ham together, but here they're really flourishing. You know, and I think the more they play with each other, you're seeing that as well. There's
Hansen. That's Ingle in the way. Staniforth operating at right back tonight for Aston Villa. Not a position she's used to, but she's got so much experience. But Chelsea, you'd imagine, will try and attack that Villa right-hand side.
Yeah, I mean, obviously she's doing a job, you know. She's doing a job for Villa. They've obviously got Mailing out at the moment, but she's an experienced player, you know, and she's going to know when to move the ball, especially if she's put under pressure. But Chelsea want to exploit that, you know. A player playing that position, it's not easy dropping from midfield into defence.
Well, it was Carla Ward who pretty much threw her into a relatively new position as a sitting midfielder, and she's adapted to that. Now looking to operate at right back tonight. That's Pacheco. There's Hansen. Carter starting at right back, steps in for Chelsea. Linkila Brown. Lehman losing out. There's Carter again. He did operate at left back against Lyon on Thursday in a game which was exhausting to watch, never mind to play it.
I know, I was doing it for Sky Sports News, and I didn't even watch the penalty. I was so nervous. So
Chelsea are looking to threaten here with Niamh Charles. Lehman was back retreating and back defending and helping out. There's Kenza Darley looking for Daly. Linkila Brown. Villa are a team who do like to dominate possession, who do like to build up play from the back. And they're a team right now which has confidence coursing through their veins, unbeaten in 8 in all competitions, 7 in the WSL. There's Hansen being pursued by Carter. Kirsty Hansen sticks to her guns. This is Darley. Now Staniforth with a chance to make her way forward. Delivering that cross, but too close to Mušević and the Chelsea goal.
yeah, it's a bit of a hit and hope ball that really in there. It could have helped keeping the ball, just building it up again. Obviously Chelsea were expecting it and were set behind it.
Zecira Mušević, who had to watch proceedings from the bench on Thursday as Anne-Katrin Berger became a Stamford Bridge hero with her 2 penalty saves and a shootout win against Lyon. Here goes Kenza Darley again. There's 2 for company and it's loose from her. There's Cankovic. She steps away from Pacheco. Chelsea closing in here, but a good challenge by Dan Turner.
And that was great link-up play as well. Obviously Cankovic, she's come in, obviously she's played, she's been one of the most used subs as well for Chelsea this year, but you can just see obviously a turnover there from Kenza Darley, and they go and exploit it down the right-hand side.
And what can Chelsea conjure up from this corner kick? They played a few corners short the other night. Lauren James was involved in them. She's on the bench from the start this evening. But Sam Kerr usually knows where the ball is going to drop, and she is waiting inside the Villa box. Driven in towards Sam Kerr, who took a swing. Ingle involved as well, away by Darley. Lehman trying to put the pressure on, and Aston Villa taking no chances. There's Jelena Cankovic. Carter. In the team news, Emma Hayes looking to mix things up tonight, changing 5 players, almost half the team. She didn't make that many changes for the big game against Manchester City last week, which followed on from the first leg against Lyon. She felt the team were lacking energy and legs, and in that game against City, she made 2 early substitutions because of that.
Yeah, she's not shy of making early changes if it's not going the way she wants it to. But that's the thing about having a great squad that Chelsea do have, is that she knows she can afford to make 5 changes tonight, and still she feels the team is strong enough to go and get a result.
Well, Chelsea on the front foot here. Sam Kerr looking to pounce. They just squirmed away from her. Hannah Hampton having to take evasive action. There's Ken Zadali. Staniforth. Hannah Hampton hunted down, and that forces the error.
Yeah, Chelsea just being patient there with their press. But with that chance as well, it seems that Hannah Hampton's save literally puts the ball through Sam Kerr's legs. She just takes that last punch as Sam Kerr's closing it down, which makes it go for her legs, but she recognises the danger straight away, and that just little touch with her fingertip pushes it away.
Yeah, really important touch there from the Aston Villa keeper to keep Sam Kerr at bay. Sam Kerr, who's mentioned in the team news, likes a goal against Villa. She just likes a goal. 5 in 5 against Aston Villa. That's Staniforth. There's Jordan Nobbs. He is WSL royalty now, wearing the badge of Aston Villa. Interesting that Emma Hayes said that Chelsea at the moment aren't feeling fully confident playing out from the back, which is why they went more direct against Lyon. In that second leg, she called Ann-Katrin Berger over early on in the contest and said, don't play out from the back, launch it long to Sam Kerr.
I think she knows as well that teams are starting to press Chelsea. You know, normally, like I'm talking about from our previous experience, teams would drop off, they'd let Chelsea have the ball, they'd sit in sort of like a mid-block and invite Chelsea to come onto them. But now teams know that they can go and press Chelsea and they can win the ball. So they've got to have that second part, that little mix-up of their game, to be able to mix it up and go longer rather than always playing out short, because she's going to know that team's going to do that now.
Well, something special could be happening at Aston Villa. They are a rising force in the WSL. The aim this season is to finish top 6, which is where they are right now. That's what they set out to do in the summer, and they are on course. And they're doing it with a stylish brand of football. Carla Ward believes one more win should do it in terms of sealing a top 6 place. Then it'll be on to the next target. Linkila Brown. There's Buchanan. Chelsea is still without the injured Millie Bright. So Buchanan and Eriksson are continuing that centre-back partnership. They were just tempting Aston Villa in there.
I know they've done that a couple of times against City and a couple of times against Lyon as well, and was nearly punished. Well, they was punished against City for the first goal. And I think that, I mean, Millie is such a huge loss for any team, but I think they missed her so much in that City game. The leadership, you know, setting the standards, setting the tone. She wouldn't have been happy with that performance. And I think she's a huge loss for them.
Well, Emma Hayes couldn't sleep after that incredible drama of Thursday night. It was an exhausting match to play and watch, as we mentioned. They haven't had too much time to prepare for this, but big players chasing the big trophies, they're used to that. Well, the first people to text Emma Hayes congratulations after the win was Carla Ward, who got a reply at around about 4 o'clock in the morning.
She's probably trying to get some inside info ready for the weekend.
Forward by Carter. Ritting can read. There's Carter again. Playing on a more natural side.
Yeah.
Right back position.
She's got such great versatility though, Carter. She can go into the midfield, she can go centre back, she can go either side of the pitch for full back. And not just mix it up, but to have a good professional performance anywhere she plays, and that's what she knows she can get from her.
Well, she's waiting here. Rithing Canrid. Hansen on the retreat that time. Here's Pacheco. As Villa look to try and play themselves out of a tight spot. Nicely done by Kirsty Hansen. It was leaned into by Carter. The referee was happy initially with the challenge, but now blows the whistle.
And I think Kirsty Hansen is one of the stills of the signings, you know, like she's been brilliant for Aston Villa. And I know people obviously talk a lot about Darley and Daly, but she's been huge for them and a huge signing for them. And to be able to have an out-and-out left winger as well, left-footed, offers so much for a team, but she's been brilliant since coming here.
Yeah, on loan from Manchester United. And the recruitment here has been really good. They work 3 transfer windows in advance. They got themselves a futures list as well as they look to build a squad to try and cut that gap between themselves and the top 4.
Yeah, and I do think with the last few windows, I think the last few seasons especially, people have said that probably Villa have underachieved with the players that they've signed and the money they've put into it. So I think now is really a fair reflection on where they are in the season compared to the players that they've brought in. Obviously, getting Jordan Nobbs and Lucy Staniforth in the January transfer window was huge for them.
Moved on by Sam Kerr. There's Pacheco. Villa taking risks. Chelsea stepping in. Cankovic looking to pick out Johanna Rithing Canrid. There's Jelena Cankovic again, and she was beaten to the punch by Hansen. Ingle. Jelena Cankovic driving at Aston Villa. And it's a brilliant stop. Hannah Hampton coming to the rescue there for Aston Villa. As Guro Wrighton stepped in field and looked to pounce.
What a fantastic save there. Great driven driving, cut back. You know, you'd have thought that would be a goal, especially with Wright and the form she's in. But it's a fantastic save from Hannah Hampton.
Looking to keep her first clean sheet in the league against Chelsea. At the other end, this is Hansen. And Buchanan does the defending for Chelsea. Drops though to Darley. But Chelsea are carrying the greater threat right now. But this is Jordan Nobbs. Hansen's on the outside. Hansen delivering that cross. Alicia Lehman was coming in from the far side. Alicia Lehman again, it was taken away from her. There's Hansen again. Nobbs couldn't latch on to it. Rithing Canrid. Buchanan hunted down by Rachel Daly, but illegally so.
That is exactly what I said she was going to do. She don't let you breathe. She hounds you until she gets the ball, and she'll know with Buchanan as well that she's that sort of player. Buchanan's a very chilled, relaxed centre back, and she likes to have the ball and likes to have possession. So Rachel will know that, and she'll want to put her under pressure straight away, which is what she's obviously done there, and won Chelsea have won the free kick.
She gets fed up, doesn't she, Rachel Daly, of the striker left-back debate. She'll be off into international action. Before she goes on to international action, she does do a few sessions as a left-back during training sessions with Aston Villa. There's Nobbs. Now Staniforth. This is Patton. Hannah Hampton, who's made 2 big saves so far in this contest. Looking for Alicia Lehman. The referee has just stopped play. Chelsea starting the game 4 points off top spot. They are the serial title winners right now. It is some title race right now, and of course Emma Hayes wants to win the title, but having a title race like this is always what she has dreamt of. The excitement, the compelling action, the drama. Of course, though, she wants to come out on top.
It's fantastic for the WSL. You know, obviously I've been fortunate enough to be in many title races over the years, but to have 4 going for it, really, and then obviously then it being just as exciting at the bottom of the table as well, for a neutral, for any fan, it's fantastic to see the development, you know, of the WSL. But Emma won't be paying really much attention to the other results. She'll be saying it just be about them. Chelsea do what they need to do, they'll win it.
A nice link-up play, but didn't quite come off in the end, and this is Hansen. Yeah, she did say, Emma, before the game to Lindsay, that she doesn't look at the table. Of course she does. Sam Kerr with the cross. I never believed that from a manager.
She must just have one eye on it, you know, at least.
She's not too far away from us, so we'll keep it quiet. Goalless so far, but Chelsea have had the better chances.
Yeah, Chelsea have obviously created, especially down this right-hand side too. Obviously, Villa just had that previous cross come in, and they had a couple of like half chances, but nothing really clear-cut. But yeah, it's been a good start.
Here's Carter. Ritting Canrid. Shankovic involved again and standing her ground. Jess Carter, ex-Birmingham, used to live in Solihull. Back on Midlands territory, and will take this throw in for Chelsea. There's Ingle. Flicks up off Jordan Nobbs. Jordan Nobbs trying to get involved again. It was Wrighton again. Guro Wrighton once more. There's Daly, holding the ball up nicely. Patton. Now Staniforth. Alicia Lehman. Staniforth again. There's Darley. Alicia Lehman has made the move forward, and here is Lehman. Daly waiting. It's a clever flick, but it didn't outwit Mušević.
I'm just not sure she needs to do that. I'm trying to work out why she hasn't gone first time with her right foot rather than doing it. Yeah, I just think she'll generate more power if she comes across the ball rather than going through her legs. She'll be disappointed with that. I think more power, better connection with it, come straight onto it. She can put that straight in.
Sharp save by Mušević, who may be busy again here. But that was Aston Villa's best moment yet. Alicia Lehman, who created that chance, she was electric against Leicester last week down the road at Villa Park. A couple of goals and an assist in the 5-0 win. Almost another assist there. She's waiting in the middle now. Goes beyond Anna Patton. There's Buchanan leading the breakout for Chelsea.
Good defending from Buchanan there to let that come across her. Anna Patton seemed to be a bit frustrated really, but I thought that was a good ball in the box.
Went for the spectacular flick there, Rachel Daly. Gilly, you felt she should have just gone with it with a more orthodox right-footed effort.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe she was obviously coming too quickly, you know, like coming too quickly onto the ball, so felt that that was her best option. But I've seen Rach play in training, and I've played with her at West Ham. I've seen her rifle them straight into the top corner, so I was surprised by that. I mean, she's got it in her locker, but I mean, I was just surprised that she didn't go that way.
The Hollywood didn't come off there for Rachel Daly. A foul by Staniforth.
That's the midfielder coming out in her there, you know, not standing up, straight in.
Calling card left. Guro Wrighton, an interested party in this. Jessie Fleming is also standing over it. Aston Villa have 2 in the wall. A signal from Fleming. Sends that ball in towards the far post. Away in the end, it comes back to Wrighton. The header goalwards, and again Hampton had to take evasive action, but that time she is beaten. And it's Jelena Čanković who strikes for Chelsea as they make their move. After a grueling night on Thursday, the champions are doing what champions do, rising up to the next challenge and meeting it head on.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're targeting Sam Kerr there. She knows what to do as well, drop it back down. Obviously, Villa don't really clear their lines well, and the second ball comes in. It's again, Chelsea is staying alive though. I mean, it's a fantastic finish, and she's just buried it and hit it with such power. But Chelsea are the first to react. No, they didn't clear that. Villa didn't clear their lines early on, and they've invited the ball back into the box again. And with the players that Chelsea have got, you just don't do that.
Hannah Hampton beaten. Jelena Čanković with the strike for Chelsea. Her 3rd goal of the season. And an important goal for Chelsea too. They have carried the greater threat in the first quarter of this game, and they've got their reward.
I think you could feel it was coming as well. Obviously, Hannah Hampton being the more busier out of 2 goalkeepers, and a couple of times she's parried the saves into dangerous areas. Obviously, she's going to say that that's only what she could have done. You know, she couldn't have put it anywhere else. But if that's the case, Villa defenders just have to make sure they stay alive for that second ball.
Work to do for Carla Ward and Aston Villa. Remember, are unbeaten in their last 8 games, 7 in the league. But this tonight, a big test against the champions. Chelsea, real hunger and vibrancy about them to win the ball back, but Nobbs on the retreat gets to it. There's Pacheco. Darley. Ingle. There's Fleming. Ingle again. One of those who was taken off early on against Manchester City in that 2-0 defeat last week. Guro Wrighton linking up with Witten Canrid, and once again, Hannah Hampton had to guard a near post.
I think Čanković was wanting the set back then as well. But yeah, it's good play down the right-hand side. Chelsea really dominating down here as well. Obviously, Dan Turner miskicks it. But yeah, I think Čanković was calling for the set back then. Trying to go with the outside of her boot, really, try and toe poke it in.
Well, once again, Sam Kerr is waiting just on the edge of the box. She makes her move now, and Hampton gets to it.
No, Sam Kerr is probably one of the most difficult centre forwards I've marked in regards to heading. You know, you think you've got the ball, and then she just comes up, and her leap is unbelievable. But she gets away far too easy from Dan Turner there. But she'll be disappointed that she's not put that one in.
Why is she so difficult to mark?
She's just a nuisance. But you think you've got it, a header. You think you got it. You're lining it up, and then she just that juncture. And I'd like to say I felt I was good at header. You know, I was able to jump. But she's just so powerful in her leap.
Well, we can see Chelsea's shape there off the ball. It's pretty much 4-4-2, which is how they played against Lyon on Thursday. As Emma Hayes thought, quite rightly, that was the best way to attack that game against a team who were playing 4-3-3, which is pretty much how Aston Villa were playing here.
Yeah, I just think it helps keeping the wingers closer to the fullbacks. Obviously, she's going to know that Hansen and Lehmann have both got pace as well, so it just gives that bit more protection for the fullbacks.
Darley looking to link up with Jordan Nobbs. Smashed away by Eriksson. Eriksson once again dealing with that for Chelsea. Jordan Nobbs looking to release Alicia Lehmann. Eriksson once again standing her ground. Goes behind for an Aston Villa corner.
There's a couple of crosses now as well where Villa haven't been able to beat the first player, beat the near post. So they don't seem to have many numbers going into the box as well. And you know, with Alicia Lehmann, she's got the pace. And if she can get past Charles, you know, she'll be able to put a good ball in, but it's now making sure that Villa have got bodies to put in the box as well.
Aston Villa looking to show their powers of recovery again here. They've gained 13 points of losing position so far this season. No team can match that in the WSL. Stanifor. Looking that cross, but right on top of Mušević.
It's a good claim there. You're probably hoping that maybe a Villa player can get a crosser. Obviously, good play from Stanifor too, and a good ball in. But three Villa players are sitting out on near enough on the edge of the 6-yard box.
Buchanan. Daly was coming back from an offside position, which is why Eriksson is appealing, because she felt she was maybe interfering there with Buchanan. Jankovic. Rytting-Kaneryd stepping in field. And Hannah Hampton, the cool head in the chaos.
Well, that does make me nervous, watch that turn out from the back.
Well, if there was a hit the crossbar competition, they would have won that there, Chelsea.
I just think with Kenza Darley as well, it's a couple of times now she's turned over the ball that Chelsea are not going to give her the time and the space to have 2, 3, 4 touches. She just needs to move it because they know it goes into her. And playing with Kenza, she likes to be on the ball, she likes to have a lot of touches, and they're going to know that. So they're going to set the trap really to go to Kenza, and then they're going to smother her, which is what they've done a couple of times.
Yeah, she was thinking about leaving the English game, Kenza Darley, in the summer until Aston Villa came calling, and the opportunity to link up with Rachel Daly again. You mentioned the two play together from the really good relationship at West Ham.
Yeah, I think Kenza found it a little bit difficult at Everton. I think going there with the expectations that they said about obviously aiming for Champions League, and Kenza's a very motivated player. She wants to be the best and she wants to win things.
She's a lively character. Rytting-Kaneryd, that's Ingle. Jelena Jankovic giving chase. Turner gets to it. Once again, Villa looking to play their way out from the back. That's what they do under Carla Ward, but Chelsea have stepped in, but not for long, as Jordan Nobbs picks up. There's Pacheco. You do have to be brave and have complete trust in your teammates to play this way.
Yeah, you all have to make sure that you're on the same wavelength as well, but it's something that I'm guessing Carla Ward will train a lot with as well. So the more you train and the more you practice it, the more comfortable you will be.
It's the way she always wanted to play as a player, to build up from the back, work their way up the pitch, and that's why she wants her team to do just that.
I think it's good to be able to play that way, but it's also recognising when it's too much, you know, and not putting yourselves in danger. You know, there's nothing wrong with turning the ball and being more direct. I know some people sometimes have a conception of it where it's a bit like, well, that's not pretty football, or you're just playing long ball. But at the end of the day, people see results. You know, if you play more of a direct game and you're picking up 3 points, who's really going to be moaning about it, really?
Villa trailing here as we head into the final 15 minutes of the first half. Chelsea have this free kick. Sam Kerr is waiting on this side of the pitch. Carter. There's Ingle. Now Fleming. They're looking to attack that, as was Eriksson. That's Darley. Ingle tidying up again for Chelsea.
I think Aston Villa as well are pretty slow in stepping out, you know, so when it comes to the second phase and Chelsea picking up, they're pretty much on the edge of their box, you know, and it's just inviting the ball back into the box.
Eriksson stepping forward. There's Guro Reiten. A lovely ball and an intelligent run, but the flag has gone up to frustrate Sam Kerr and Chelsea.
That was a tight one though with Staniforth. I wasn't too sure if she was playing her on. Staniforth ended up on the opposite side at that point.
Yeah, the flag went up to frustrate Chelsea that time.
Yes, yellow! Yes, go!
Chelsea would have liked this game to be played down the road on the wide open spaces of Villa Park, but Villa always wanted this match against the champions here, the more humble surroundings of the Bescot Stadium. Tighter pitch. It's noisy as well. A few more divots perhaps on the pitch here as well.
I'm not surprised they ever wanted to play it there. A nice, beautiful pitch, big spaces. Jesse!
Nothing wrong with this pitch though. The ground staff are working hard on it before the game. Walsall did play here yesterday against Sutton in a 1-1 draw. This has been a good ground for Aston Villa.
Yeah, it has. It's obviously a good place for them to call home as well. I've had a difficult couple of games here as a player, but the pitch looks in better condition tonight than what it did when I played.
You probably led to half of the divots.
Yeah, someone said that to me yesterday. I'm getting a bit of a impression about myself at the moment.
Yeah, building a reputation. There's Buchanan. Now Eriksson. Chelsea are looking to move up the gears again. It's Guro Reiten over the head of Sam Kerr. Britton Canrid. Away by Hansen. There's Rachel Daly looking to link up with Jordan Nobbs. He's looking for options ahead of her and has to go back to Staniforth.
You see as well how quick Chelsea get back in when they turn the ball over. There's more players from Chelsea recovering than what it is for Aston Villa going to join in. It's difficult. You had Jordan Nobbs then and Rachel Daly was really the only two in Chelsea's half.
Staniforth stepping out. Darley. There's Staniforth again. Looking to stretch the pitch and running behind, but Eriksson gets to it. That's Aston Villa's biggest WSL win, a 5-0 victory at Villa Park last week against Leicester. It's a much tougher test tonight.
But what you're noticing as well on the right-hand side is Alicia Lehman's standing the other side of Charles, but because Eriksson's deeper than Charles, she's onside. And Charles just got to be aware of that because Alicia has got pace and she can punish her.
Jordan Nobbs. Pacheco. Loose from Pacheco. Picked up by Cankovic, and this is Sam Kerr looking to cause problems. Reiten arriving on the scene, but couldn't find the target.
She just leaned back there too much, but Villa are causing their own problems from their own turnovers. Obviously Pacheco then plays the ball in. She doesn't need to do that, but obviously Sam Kerr does well to hold it up and sets it on a plate really for Reiten, but I think she just obviously leans back, too much power in it, and it goes over.
Scored with a right foot against Lyon the first leg of that Champions League quarter-final. Even Guro Reiten couldn't believe it, and neither could the teammates that she hit it with her right foot, and it went in.
That was a fantastic finish as well, but I think what happened with that finish as well, what helped her was the pass from Erin Cuthbert. It weren't too heavy, it was literally set up for her so she could curl it with her right foot, but it was in the bottom corner. It was a brilliant finish.
Carter on the retreat and leaving it to Mušević as she looked to make life awkward for Hansen. Ritten Canrid, Carter. Daly. There's Blinkiller-Brown. Of league games, Chelsea coming into this on the back of that defeat against Manchester City. They've not lost successive WSL games since 2015. Sam Kerr looking to latch onto this. It's Kerr! Denied by the crossbar. Chelsea so close to making it 2. Villa saved by the bar.
You notice as well, just that ball was coming in. Sam just had a little look to see where Hannah Hampton was, and probably his thought that was going to go back into the back of the net, but yeah, Villa saved by the crossbar there. It's come from a Villa turnover again. But she just had a little look, thinks she's hit it cleanly enough for it to go in, but it's the crossbar.
She's looking for goal number 50 of her WSL career, and that's how close she was. Chelsea are looking to force the errors and looking to pounce upon them.
They're setting the trap, Chelsea. They want them to play into midfield, and then they're smothering the midfielders and they're turning it over. So Villa just need to move it. They don't need to force anything into the middle. You can bypass that. There's so much space behind Chelsea's backline as well. And you think with Alicia Lame on one side, Kirsty Hansen on the other side, who have both got pace, exploit it, use it.
Pacheco goes to ground. Ritten Canrid looking to torment Aston Villa again. She's got 3 for company. Didn't quite make it through to Cankovic because Kirsty Hansen was helping out defensively. There's Kenza Darley. Eriksson steps in. Hannah Hampton will back herself with the ball at her feet. She's found Pacheco. Daly. Blinkiller-Brown. There's Hansen. Pacheco again. Avoids the clutches of Cankovic. That's Daly. And Staniforth. Chelsea keeping their shape and looking to keep Villa out of Chelsea's shape. Jordan Nobso latching onto this. Daly's in the middle.
There's just such a big gap though when Rach Daly is staying quite high in the Chelsea defence, and then you've got Kenza Darley dropping and Jordan Knowles both dropping deeper to get the ball off the back 4 from Villa. And then when they get it, there's such a big gap. So I think Kenza Darley's wanting Rach to come short. I think Rach is wanting the ball to go in behind. So it's just a bit of that miscommunication.
As we mentioned earlier, the two have such a good link-up. They say they speak the same language on the pitch. Darley and Daly.
I was going to say, what, do they speak French?
Apparently not, according to Rachel Daly. There's Carter. Blinkiller-Brown. Chelsea having to manage this punishing schedule right now, but that's the price you pay for success. But they've been vibrant in the first 45 minutes here, and they have the lead. They could have had more.
To be fair though, watching Chelsea, I wouldn't say they look tired. I know obviously she's made 5 changes, but there's still a lot of players there who would have played, and a lot of them would have played minutes anyway in the week. But Emma's always said that, even when I was there. Emma always said she loved the games. You know, the more games you can play, of course, it makes you tired and fatigued, but it gives you that momentum that sometimes you don't have when it's 2 weeks for a game or even once a week. But yeah, Chelsea are going to want to be in all the competitions. She's already said that. They want to win everything.
Yeah, she likes a busy schedule. The team usually does well during a busy schedule.
I think she just prefers a busy schedule with more fit players.
So Chelsea in front, and this is what it means right now. At the top of the WSL, they are closing in on Manchester United with a game in hand. Emma Hayes is not looking at that table, don't forget.
Go down there and show her a piece of paper. I think what is big about that, though, is the goal difference. You know, obviously Man United are quite far ahead with the goal difference, and that's basically like another point.
Daly dropping deep and linking again. Here's Alicia Lehmann, faced by Niamh Charles. Pacheco. Daly again, nicely away from Cankovic. She's having to drop deep to try and make things happen for Aston Villa, and Villa have lost it again. And here's Guro Reiten. Now Cankovic. Guro Reiten again. 2-0 for Chelsea. They've got Aston Villa running for cover now on what looked like being a day fraught with danger. Chelsea are taking it in their stride.
All come again from a Rach Daly turnover. You know, obviously you don't want Rach Daly picking the ball up there in her own half, but obviously she's getting frustrated, so she's getting drawn deeper to the ball. But it's fantastic from Chelsea as well. Obviously it's 3v3. Villa defenders are trying to get back behind the ball, but it's a fantastic strike from Guro Reiten on her left foot as well. You can see the celebration as well, with sort of like a frustrations come out in her. She'd have been frustrated with the previous chance, but right there in the bottom corner, Hannah Hampton, I don't think would ever been able to get that ball. Great strike. But again, it's come from Villa. You know, it's come from their turnovers, but you don't want Rach Daly being that deep, picking the ball up.
Well, it's 6 goals in 10 games now for Guro Reiten, who was leading scorer time after time in Norway. Carla Ward's just had a word there with Maz Pacheco. But Aston Villa lost possession and Chelsea made them pay. There's Hansen. Pacheco has made the run forward here. And it was Jessie Fleming, who likes to defend, who got back to do the defending.
That's a fantastic recovery as well from Fleming. Obviously, Pacheco saw the space was opening up, and that's probably the furthest she's been, the highest she's been in the whole of the first half, joining in. But she does well there, Fleming, to get the recovery in.
Can Villa hit back just before the break? It would change everything here. Dan Turner looking to pounce, as is Kirsty Hansen. Goes towards the far post, and the header was comfortably held in the end by Mušević. Patton, and I think it's Hansen, are both down. Was an inviting ball in.
Yeah, and I think with Hansen, I think she was just backpedaling there. So when you're backpedaling to adjust to the ball, you're not able to really generate the power that's needed. She connects to it, but she's just missing that power.
Well, Carla Ward's potentially writing her half-time team talk there. Remember, Villa are unbeaten on this unbeaten run of 8 games, but they're on the back foot here.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't really feel like they've really been much in the game. You know, they've had a couple of chances, or crosses, should I say, like half crosses really, but they've not really threatened Mušević in goal, or the Chelsea back four. I do think they need to get Hansen more into the game, and I do think they need to get Alicia Lehmann more into the game, down the sides. But Chelsea's just defending so well. As soon as they turn the ball over, they're dropping straight in, they're banking up, and Villa are finding it hard to play through, and doing too many turnovers as well.
And this is how Chelsea got things going in this first half.
Yeah, Tankovic just alive to the second ball. No, it's fantastic following it up, and then Guru right. And as you see, just as much she's to take that shot, the ball just comes up a little bit. So her connection then straight into the bottom corner. It's a brilliant finish.
One of those Gilly Flaherty divots. Almost
I thought
caught
you were
her
going to
out.
say one of Gilly Flaherty's shots then. I was going to say, no, that would have gone over the stand. I'll take a pre-assist for that then, for that little divot I created.
Brighton taking full advantage of it. Anna Patton is back on her feet and back on the pitch for Aston Villa, and Chelsea are hunting another here just before the break. Cankovic was lurking. There's Staniforth. As Villa again play themselves out of a tight spot. Cankovic intervening. Fleming, now Blinkiller-Brown. Jordan Nobbs driving at Chelsea. Rachel Daly giving chase. Buchanan has the matter in hand.
I'm just wondering as well whether Carla Ward is making sure they keep playing out from the back under pressure, because if you can do it and get away with it against the likes of Chelsea, then you'll be able to do it against the other teams in the league. But it's just making me so nervous watching them, because I feel like they're just inviting Chelsea to say, here, there's the ball, go and punish us.
Well, a show of strength from Chelsea and a show of their strength in depth. They lead 2-0 at the break, thanks to goals from Jelena Cankovic and Guro Reiten. Half-time, Aston Villa 0, Chelsea 2.
Evening to those just joining us on Sky Sports Premier League and main event. Chelsea 2 up at Aston Villa at the break. I think we're actually the tired ones compared to Chelsea. Kelly Smith, Sue Smith. So we came into this talking about whether they'd be exhausted from their European exploits. But from Cankovic in the first goal onwards, all looks rosy.
Who said they were going to be tired? But no, I think Cankovic has been influential throughout the game, and this is just where she reacted the quicker. You can see it falls out as a Guro Reiten. Can Jordan Nobbs close it down and stop that delivery into the box? Niamh Charles does well to get it back across goal, and then she just reacts. She's the first one to respond. I know that Aston Villa may say, is there a foul there on Hannah Hampton? I don't think there is. I think Hannah Hampton can deal with this better. She sort of, you can see there's the move first. What can Eriksson do? Eriksson's just going to challenge the ball. Brilliant from Niamh Charles. Get it back across goal. And then who's the first one to react? Cankovic. And I just think she's been excellent on and off the ball. I think her energy and I think her quality in the play, and she thoroughly deserved the first goal.
We spoke about Cankovic. We spoke about Guro Reiten, who pops up with the second.
Yeah, she's been very good down that left-hand side, also very effective. And you just see here Rachel Daly, she plays a square pass across, doesn't connect with Darley, poor decision. And then Reiten pounces on it, takes the space. She looks as though she wants to shape up on her left foot, but the centre-half, fades her away. And that, for me, Cankovic's pass, you'll see it again here. Reiten does brilliantly just to ride the challenge. Cankovic's pass just sets Reiten up perfectly. She knows Reiten's left-footed. Bang, thank you very much. And you know what? Chelsea have been... They've just played 120 minutes and had a few days rest. They have been on it today. I was expecting more from Villa out of the races, but today Chelsea looked really focused, driven, and who would have known that they played that amount of time, and the emotional aspect of the game in midweek to perform the way they did the first half, outstanding.
Well, you say perform this way, they've been chasing every ball.
Oh, they've been absolutely brilliant. The way that they've pressed from the front, and they've just been setting traps for Aston Villa. Aston Villa are continually trying to play out from the back, and that's something that Carla Ward's going to have to say at half-time, because there's a time and a place. I know that's the way that they want to play, but Chelsea are setting traps. They know that Aston Villa want to play it from the back, go into the midfield, then into the forward areas, and they're just winning it back. But like you mentioned, it's the willing pressing off the ball is causing Aston Villa so many problems, winning the ball high up the pitch, and then that's when they're in. And this was a great opportunity, Kelly, wasn't it, from Sam Kerr?
Yeah, absolutely. We said I saw Sam Kerr play in that game, and she looked tired, but she looks fresh tonight. I think just at the races. But I was expecting Villa to be high pressing in this game, not Chelsea. I thought Chelsea would sit back and soak up the pressure, but they've been the ones much more on it this first half.
Ominously, if you can say that twice, points for Aston Villa. Chelsea haven't conceded on their past couple of visits to the Villa, and they're standing firm at the moment. Sue Smith, Aston Villa have won 13 points from losing positions this season, but do you see Chelsea giving this one up?
No, I can't, to be honest. I think they're too professional, but I think that's something that I'm sure Carla Ward will have said to her players. And if they get an opportunity, because I think looking back to that first half, Rachel Daly had the chance before Chelsea scored their 2 goals. So if you get an opportunity, you've got to take it. 2-1, game on.
We saw them doing the hokey-cokey in the warm-up then, Kelly. I mean, changes perhaps. Do you want to see them perhaps on that right-hand side trying to get a bit better?
I just think they need to use the width more, get Lehmann involved, get Hansen. They've been quite quiet, especially Hansen down the left-hand side. And the service into Daly hasn't been good enough for me. It's been head height, it's been overhit. So I just think they need to tune up in the final third just to try and get themselves back into this game.
We're seeing that performance from Chelsea that we saw in the latter stages of that Champions League match, and that's why I say I don't think they'll give it up, because they seem to have that resilience.
They have resilience, they've got character, they've got real leaders on the pitch, and you just think by taking that 2-goal advantage, they're not going to let it slip.
All right, back to your commentary team, Gilly Flaherty and Gary Weaver.
Yes, thank you, Caroline. Well, Aston Villa have never taken a league point off Chelsea. Chelsea enjoy their days facing Villa, and they are enjoying this one so far at the Bescot Stadium in Warsaw, leading by 2-0 at the break, thanks to those goals from Cankovic and Guro Reiten. And they did have the opportunity to score a couple more. What do you expect from this second half, Gilly?
I'll be interested to see if Villa still continue to try and play out from the back, because I think that's what's caused them their problems in that first half, and obviously Chelsea have been setting a trap for them to do it. I'd like to obviously see, the midfield get a bit closer to Rach Daly as well and give her a bit more support.
Well, we'll see how this second 45 minutes plays out. Chelsea's title crown on the line right now. Manchester United leading the way, but Chelsea are closing in as it stands, moving into second with a game in hand and a point behind United. Turner. There's Staniforth. A reminder that Lucy Staniforth is starting at right back for Aston Villa tonight, in the continued absence of Sarah Mayling. There's Ingle. If you missed the team news earlier, Chelsea have made 5 changes. Almost half the team has changed from that 11 which started that enthralling night against Lyon at Stamford Bridge on Thursday. Barcelona up next in the semi-finals of the Champions League for Chelsea, who are hunting a treble. The battle on between Hansen and Carter.
It's a feisty battle over there as well between them two. I know, been on the end of a couple of Jess Carter's tackles over the years. Obviously, Kirsty Hansen giving as good as she gets as well.
Well, as you mentioned, Gilly, it'll be interesting to see whether Carla Ward sticks to her principles of play, which is to play out from the back and build up from the goalkeeper onwards. But Chelsea have forced the errors and taken advantage of those errors so far tonight. Turner. Ingle. And Ingle again. Reiten, who's stepped inside. Cankovic. Hitting Canrid. Sam Kerr in the middle, taken away from her by Blinkilla Brown. There's Alicia Lehmann. Now Staniforth. Lehmann again, running into trouble in the form of Cankovic, who's everywhere right now.
Yeah, she's been brilliant tonight. She's been in and around the ball. She's been fighting for every tackle. But just be interested as well to see, when Chelsea have possession, Villa comes so compact into the pitch and the space is wide. You know, Lucy Staniforth, she's doing a job there at the moment at right back, but she's getting dragged in as well. Alicia Lehmann's coming in. If Chelsea can just be a bit brave with their width, they'll be able to exploit so much on the outside.
Here is Alicia Lehmann. in combat with Niamh Charles, who on the whole has been moved to a full-back position since she moved to Chelsea, although she did play further forward, which used to be her position in that game during the week.
I know with Niamh Charles as well, obviously when she did go to Chelsea, there was a few questions asked. Will she play a lot? Will it stunt her development really? Because obviously she was playing quite a lot and regularly at Liverpool before she left. But she's another player who's versatile, and she's so quick to adapt as well as what's needed from Emma.
There's Daly. Linkiller-Brown. Jankovic looking to release Sam Kerr. Patton sliding in, Kerr latches onto it. There's Guro Wrighton. Wrighton delivering the cross, and no takers in the middle. Johanna Rytting-Kaneryd was the closest. Villa looking for something on the counter-attack. Daly. There's Darley. Lehman was the target. Niamh Charles had stepped in field to deal with it. And Staniforth. There's Alicia Lehman again, hunted down by Niamh Charles, who wins the duel. Staniforth stepping in onto the toes of Niamh Charles. Now Daly, Alicia Lehman to her right. Here's Lehman. Pulls it back into a great area where Darley was waiting. Darley again. Linkiller-Brown, who goes for it, and Mušović watches it bounce past their post.
I think you can see the start of that as well with Magda Eriksson on the ball. You can hear Emma saying movement, movement, because she's got the ball and everyone's sort of pretty much static and not really helping her. She forces the ball and it turns over, and obviously then Villa go on the attack. Kenza probably felt like she could have done better with that as well. It was a bit of a scrappy shot. She wanted to connect better, and obviously then Linkiller, it's just sort of obviously a bit of another really scrappy shot. Just seems to get caught under Kenza's foot as well. She can't properly connect to it.
Well, an opening for Aston Villa as they look to get back into this contest. Darley involved again. There's Daly. Now Jordan Nobbs looking to release Alicia Lehman, who is offside.
I think what you're noticing as well is when Rach Daly's dropping deeper, Kirsty Hansen's coming in to sort of fill that space she's left, but Maz Pacheco's not really getting high enough. She needs to join in, especially if Hansen's coming in. The space on the left-hand side is so free if she can be brave enough to get up there and join in.
A bright start, though, by Aston Villa at the start of this second half as they look to try and eat into this deficit. Charles just being told that throw in is the decision. Looks for Sam Kerr. Eriksson. That's Ingle. Now Hansen. There goes Darley. Pacheco on the outside, but was matched stride for stride by Jess Carter.
And that is a space that I was talking about then. I'm sort of sitting here rocking back and forth saying, get the ball out quicker. It don't need to, in my opinion, don't need to go to Kenza. Try and go straight out, miss her out, and get Maz Pacheco higher up the pitch.
Well, one goal would change everything here for Aston Villa. There's Pacheco. Now Hansen. Daly was waiting, Buchanan, and Chelsea labouring to clear, but get the job done.
Yeah, I think the next goal, if there is a next goal, if it goes Chelsea's way, you're sort of saying that's it, it's done. It's done with. But obviously, if it goes Villa way, it's a big step towards getting a point or getting 3 points. So if there is another goal, it depends on what way, obviously, it goes.
Well, they come out fighting at the start of this second half. Patton. That's Carter. There's Rachel Daly, looking to add to her total of 21 goals so far this season. Guro Wrighton, Sam Kerr giving chase. A high starting position from Hannah Hampton does the job. Hansen looking to get the better of Carter. Jankovic, who's used to success and titles wherever she went in the first 6 seasons of senior football. Count the medals.
You counting mine?
I'm counting your appearances. I'll be here for a long time. Chelsea told to get a move on. Wrighton. Pacheco. Killer Brown stepping in for Villa. Jordan Nobbs was beaten to it and committed the foul.
And they've been playing so close to each other as well. Literally, I'd say Jordan Nobbs and Kenza Dali, they're probably about 4 or 5 yards away from each other. The space is on the opposite side of the pitch, but Alicia Amon's getting drawn in because obviously they are so compact in the middle. You just need to get Jordan Nobbs, a player like Kenza Dali, Jordan Nobbs, who've got it in their locker to switch the ball as well and to spray it on the opposite side. What they need to try and encourage.
Well, they got defensive work to take care of here. Guro Wrighton standing over the free kick for Chelsea. It's carried all the way through here to Sam Kerr. It's Kerr! Another landmark moment for Sam Kerr. Goal number 50 of her WSL career as she continues to write her legend in the game.
I think you can tell it was coming with Sam Kerr all night. She had that belief that she was going to get that goal tonight. But this is, I think, the issue you have sometimes with a player who's not naturally a right back going in there, because they just get drawn to the ball. They're loose Stanford there, ball watching. Sam Kerr's on her back shoulder as well. She's not really sure where she is. Fantastic ball in by Wrighton. Chelsea win the first ball. But yeah, Sam Kerr, that little touch then curls it into the far corner there. Well, I think she might actually toe punt that. That matter though, if Sam Kerr's doing it, anyone can toe punt it, eh?
Well, the second quickest, as you can see, Vivian Miedemar did it in 50 games. Sam Kerr has taken 62. But she scores all kinds of goals, from the outrageous to the toe pokes like that. And a big goal for Chelsea right at the start of this second half, after Villa had made the brighter start to the second 45. Chelsea have swatted Aston Villa away.
Yeah, she's a great player to have, isn't she, in your team? You know, she's doing a lot because of the injuries to Pernille Harder, to Fran Kirby. She's carrying especially the forward line, but she's carrying the team. She's producing, you know, and even the amount of minutes she's played, she still don't look tired.
It's those pasta sandwiches she eats, isn't it? Apparently that's pre-match for Sam Kerr.
Maybe that's where I went wrong then. Maybe I should have had pasta sandwiches.
As you can tell from me, I have had plenty. But a big moment for Sam Kerr, and Chelsea now with this 3-goal advantage. It's a long way back for Aston Villa. Kerr involved again. Away by Stanifor. That's Ingle. Wrighton. Alicia Lehmann picking herself up. And that's exactly what Aston Villa have to try and do here. There's Jordan Nobbs. Trying to release Rachel Daly. And the flag goes up against Rachel Daly.
I mean, Magda Eriksson does well there. She does see Rachel on her back shoulder, but that's probably really only one of a handful of times that Aston Villa have actually put the ball in behind and stretched Chelsea. That's where you want Rachel Daly picking up that ball. You want her stretching the back lines. But Buchanan does well there. Just before Jordan Nobbs plays it, she takes that step. She knows what she's going to do. Good defending there.
Well, this was always going to be a test of Aston Villa tonight, just to see where they are at on this unbeaten run, as I mentioned, and Carla Ward is being realistic about their chances of closing the gap right now on the top four. 6th place is the target. They're more than likely going to get top 6.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be honest with them. I think someone said to me earlier, are they able to be pushing up there in the Champions League spaces? Not this season, you know, but that's obviously where they see it as a club, where they'd like to be.
Well, was it a tight call here for an offside against Sam Kerr?
I don't know who's playing on the far opposite side. But is it Alicia Lehmann or Blinkiller? I think it is, who potentially might just be playing her on. It's a tight call though, especially if you don't have something like VAR or an instant replay either.
And also, who got the final touch? Was it a Villa player or the Chelsea player? Sam Kerr definitely got the final touch there. Goal number 50 of her WSL career. Blinkiller Brown. There's Jordan Nobbs. Brought to an end a decade-long service at Arsenal. 12 years with Arsenal. Plenty of titles won, but she wasn't getting so much game time this season, which is why she made the switch to Villa.
Yeah, and obviously she has her sights set on the World Cup too, and she knows that she needs to go into play to do that. And I think that's what obviously Serena, since she's come in, she said players need to play. You can't warrant a position or a call-up if you're not playing regularly for your team.
Eve Charles gets the better of Lehmann. Lovely spin too from Guro Reiten. She's got the confidence coursing through her veins right now. Sam Kerr. Ritin Kanrid. Shoney outside, takes up the invitation and was settled for the corner.
Sam Kerr does so well then to get the ball. You know, she's such a big player. She makes herself big, but a fantastic touch there. And obviously she plays it out wide as well. But yeah, Chelsea are brilliant when they're going forward. They're picking players out. They're going forward with urgency too. And they'll fancy themselves again.
Well, they've scored 7 goals from corners so far this season, the most in the WSL, and they've moved this one short. Reiten trying to keep the pressure on Aston Villa. It's Sam Kerr again! Hampton stands their ground. Sam Kerr will hit them from anywhere.
She fancies herself to score anywhere on the pitch. But Eriksson does well again there. That's the second time tonight. She stayed alive for that second ball. Great touchdown, obviously, for Sam Kerr, and a fantastic save from Hannah Hampton.
These 3 for Chelsea. It could have been a lot more. Carter stepping in that time. There's Kenza Darley. Lehmann trying to stay on side on this side of the pitch. Buchanan picks up the baton.
See Darley and Daly on different pages tonight. They're having a little bit of a pop at each other as well after that. Both wanting different things from each other, but when they connect, they're so good when they do connect. It's just been one of those nights when they're just on different wavelengths.
Darley picking out Jordan Nobbs that time. There's Patton, who's an Arsenal fan. He's hoping to try and help Arsenal out here tonight. Hampton making that save there from Sam Kerr, who took aim. As we mentioned earlier, she scores all types of goals and will fancy her chances from wherever she is on the pitch.
Yeah, she's full of confidence right now as well, especially getting her goal tonight. She will have a go from anywhere, so you have to be so alive to it, especially as a goalkeeper.
Set long that time by Hannah Hampton. Eriksson in command for Chelsea. But the change looks imminent. Rusha Littlejohn is stripped off down below us. Wrighton. Nice touch from Cankovic. Guru Wrighton again. Cankovic once more. Chelsea playing with a spring in their step. They're playing with a swagger.
You know, you wouldn't believe that they played 120 minutes against Lyon the other night.
And the emotion of the occasion as well. And as we said earlier on about Emma Hayes, she couldn't sleep that night. The players probably couldn't either.
They think they were seconds to going out, seconds away from going out, and then obviously to do that extra time and then the penalties as well.
Running on the charge. Well, we do have some breaking news from Chelsea, and that is that we're hearing Graham Potter has been sacked. So the Chelsea men's team are looking for a new manager. Graham Potter sacked. Of course, it was Aston Villa's men's team that beat Chelsea yesterday at Stamford Bridge. So Graham Potter sacked by Chelsea. There's Staniforth. Lehman. Neve Charles asking a question with the cross. Villa come up with the answer. Ritting Canrid. There's Ingle. Now Fleming. Chelsea are enjoying themselves out there right now.
That's good football from Chelsea. It's just patient, you know.
It's Ingle. Neve Charles. Sam Kerr giving chase as Chelsea were closing it again, but over the top from Ingle.
How brilliant would that have been as well if that was a goal? You know, Chelsea's so patient down the right-hand side. They're playing it about 1-2 touch. You know, they then get the switch on to Charles. Down the side to Sam Kerr, and obviously great ball across, and Ingle just leaning back a little bit, puts it over. But such patient play from Chelsea there.
Substitution for Aston Villa, replacing for the 7th.
So here's this Aston Villa change. It's the end of the night for Alicia Lehman, and she will be replaced by Rusha Littlejohn. Meanwhile, Danielle Turner has a problem here. Been a difficult night though for Alicia Lehman and her Aston Villa teammates.
Yeah, Alicia just don't look too pleased about coming off. I wonder though, will Carla change the shape, or who will she bring out obviously onto the right wing, because Rusha's predominantly a centre mid. Wonder if she's brought in there just to, likes to put a tackle in Rusha, you know, maybe tighten it up a little bit in there, or will she come out to the right hand side?
Well, if Aston Villa are to fall to defeat here, as looks likely as we head into the final quarter of the contest, it's important that they clear their heads as quickly as possible, because they've been on such a good run. They've been a rising power in the WSL this season. It's just tonight they've ran into the champions.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, Chelsea are the champions for a reason. They've played really well tonight, but Carla's going to say they're not going to define their season on one result. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it's a disappointing result for them if they do go on to lose tonight, but don't take anything away from what they've achieved before this and the run that they're on, and they'll be looking to put it to bed early doors and then move on to the next game.
It's Daly. Hansen down by Mušević.
And it looks like as well as Blinkiller as well has come out to the right-hand side. Rusha seems to be more like an anchor, like a number 4 position, and allowing Kenza Dali and Jordan Nobbs to just be a little bit higher now as well to connect with Rachel Daly.
Remember, these two will meet again in a couple of weeks' time in the semi-final of the FA Cup. Chelsea hunting that treble. John losing out. There's Charles. Sam Kerr. Charles again. Wrighton. Picked up by Cankovic. There's Carter. Eriksson. Spoken about Sam Kerr being difficult to stop, so too is Guro Wrighton in the form that she's in right now.
Yeah, she's in fantastic form for Chelsea. She offers a lot as well, you know, she's got such a great engine on her. She goes and attacks, but she does the defensive side too. And it also helps when you've got a left footer as well in the squad. She's been a brilliant addition for Chelsea over the years.
Turner to Patton. Nobbs. Again, an offside against Laura Blinkiller-Brown. Well, a reminder of the big breaking news from Stamford Bridge concerning the Chelsea men's team, and that is that Graham Potter has been sacked. He was in the crowd at Stamford Bridge on Thursday watching the Champions League quarter-final win against Lyon. Graham Potter sacked by Chelsea after defeat to Aston Villa yesterday. That's Carter. There's Jordan Nobbs to Staniforth. Made a big decision to leave Manchester United. She wondered what it would be like, as many players do when they leave Old Trafford, what it's like elsewhere. But she's happy with what she's found at Aston Villa, apart from obviously what's gone on so far tonight.
I think she's another player though who just wanted minutes. You know, I think as you get older as well, it's one of the reasons why I left Chelsea. You know, because I just wanted to play. I wanted to play regular football.
Still has ambitions for the national team as well.
I think you can see with Serena Wiegman calling up Laura Crooms.
Villa on the front foot here. Daly was waiting in the middle. Again, it was Eriksson who stepped in for Chelsea. Chelsea determined to defend their clean sheet here. There's Wrighton. We passed Staniforth that time. Into Daly, who slipped. There's your divot again.
I'm not taking blame for that one.
Fleming. I'll stop mentioning that. Emma Hayes against Manchester City last week just felt that the movement on and off the ball wasn't right from a Chelsea team. Certainly been bang on tonight.
Yeah, they've been brilliant tonight. You know, they've reacted. Obviously, they've had a tough week. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about the defeat to Man City as well, and Chelsea were poor that day. I think that's probably the poorest that I've seen in this season. But you need to react to that. You know, there's no point keep talking about it now. After this game, they'll be talking about this result and this performance. But I think Chelsea have been brilliant tonight, on and off the ball.
There's Charles. Wrighton being pursued by Littlejohn. This is the most shots that Chelsea have had in a match so far this year, calendar year. Let's not forget the form that Aston Villa have been in, although we heard Carla Ward say they weren't great last week against Leicester despite walking away with a 5-0 win. Hansen. It's Daly!
That's great play by Hansen there, obviously on the left-hand side. I don't think we've seen much of her this game, but she's put a fantastic ball in then, yeah, and obviously Rach on her left foot, first time. Just comes across it. Yeah, puts it wide. But that's what they needed, Aston Villa. They need Hansen to get into the game more.
Well, it was Kirsty Hansen's last bit of action. She's withdrawn and Freya Gregory is coming on for Aston Villa. So it's both wide players withdrawn now by Carla Ward. Alicia Lehman earlier on in the half, and now Kirsty Hansen's night is over and Freya Gregory is on. Gregory straight into the action. They're looking for a strong finish here. Nobster manning the ball on the edge of the box. There's Buchanan who is doing the defending. The ball has stayed in play. And the foul committed.
Very clever defending there from Buchanan. Just gets her body in between the ball and Gregory there. Feels the slightest touch and protects the ball and goes down. But that's a fantastic defending then.
Well, she had quite a few clubs chasing her signature. Kadisha Buchanan from Lyon, where she was a serial Champions League winner. When she turned up at Chelsea, Emma Hayes said, "I am going to push you to your max."
Yeah, and I think she initially struggled, you know, when she come into the WSL. I think obviously the pace of the game is completely different to the French league. She probably has a lot more time with the ball at Lyon, whereas here in the WSL you don't get that. Players and teams don't give players that respect, especially as a centre-back. So I think she initially struggled, but she's growing into it. The more she plays and the more she gets used to the WSL, the better she'll be. But as a fellow centre-back, you know, she was someone that I definitely admired watching her performances.
A fierce determination to try and keep this clean sheet tonight. Chelsea are about to make a couple of changes. Eve Perisset and Alsu Abdelina will be with us shortly. Jankovic. Then Staniforth. Now Darley. Linkiller Brown. Carla Ward does have a 3-year plan to make Aston Villa top 6 regulars in the WSL. Wants to grow together with the club, sustainably grow with the club. She feels she's on course for that right now, building a team to play in her character. Daly closes in on that. Daly was waiting again there from Gregory. Great defending again from Buchanan. Gregory again. Carter in the way that time for Chelsea.
Yeah, Buchanan just dropped into a great position then to cut the ball coming across the 6-yard box. If she weren't there, that would have been Rachel Daly, was ready in the middle to put it away.
Time for this Chelsea double change. Alsu Abdelina is coming on. And it's the end of the night for Sam Kerr. Just another day at the office for Sam Kerr.
She's got her goal. She's hit her 50th goal as well, but you've got to protect Sam Kerr, you know. With the injuries that Chelsea have got, she's leading the line for them. And there's a lot of games, kind of obviously got the international break now, but there's a lot of games coming up for Chelsea. So get the job done early doors, get the result, and then get Sam Kerr off as quick as you can.
So Abdelina is on, and also leaving the scene is Gura Wrighton. I'm laughing because she just walked to Emma Hayes and almost fell down on her knees because she's so exhausted. And it's Eve Perisset who comes on.
Yeah, she put in a brilliant shift, didn't she, Gura Wrighton? And in midweek as well, you know, she's a grafter. She's done well.
Let's Staniforth. Darley. Chelsea maintaining this record of not having lost back-to-back WSL games since 2015. This is Jordan Nobbs. Gregory's on the outside. Gregory's balling into the side netting. One reminder of the breaking news out of Stamford Bridge tonight, and that is that Chelsea are looking for a new manager of the men's team. Graham Potter sacked by Chelsea. And Chelsea will face Liverpool live on Sky Sports in the Premier League Tuesday, 7 o'clock. Bruno has been appointed interim head coach for now at Stamford Bridge. Emma Hayes will be sad of that news. She has a really good relationship with Graham Potter, which goes back a long, long way before he took charge at Stamford Bridge. Right now her focus will be on seeing this game through. 8 minutes to play plus additional time as Chelsea are about to climb into second in the WSL. Niamh Charles.
Who wants a sweet day? Sweet day! Only 4. There's too many ends over there. Too many ends.
That's Fleming.
Only 4 left. 4.
Tim Cameron looking to torment Aston Villa again. has been a show of squad depth and the strength that Chelsea have got in depth here tonight.
Yeah, and I think that's obviously what a positive that Chelsea have had throughout this season is that, you know, players, sometimes if you haven't played a lot of minutes, when you come on, you can be a little bit rusty. And it's about them partnerships as well. But I think the changes that Emma has made for tonight not really made a difference in a negative way. She's obviously always positive and said she believed that the players that she played would go and get the result for her. But it's good because they all get minutes throughout the games as well. So they're all match fit, they're on the same page, same wavelength, and they've all done well tonight.
Well, it's been a watching brief for two of Thursday's heroes tonight, Mara Mielder and Ann-Katrin Berger. Chelsea about to finish their week off in style. Incredible courage, wasn't it, from Mara Mielder to wait for that late penalty, to send to 2 penalties, and then minutes later step up to take the first penalty.
I know, she's as cool as ice as well. I was nervous watching it. I was watching it through my hands. But a player like Maren, you know, she's such a fantastic professional, but she was just calm and composed in that moment. There's a lot going on with the referee and Lyon players and other Chelsea players, but she was cool, she was composed, took a deep breath, and she buried both of them as well. They were both fantastic penalties.
Villa hunting a goal here. Pacheco, Staniforth. That's Darley. Nobbs finding Staniforth. There's Kenza Darley again. Through the gap. Linkiller Brown. Nicely worked this by Aston Villa. And Mušović called into action. Jordan Nobbs with the strike. Beautifully created by Villa.
That's a fantastic save as well for Mušović, who's not really had much to do in this game, to make sure she's switched on, especially late on in the game like this. A fantastic save and pushes it away from danger.
Staniforth. That was well created there by Aston Villa. Nobbs took aim, but Zecira Mušović managed to come up with the answer. Villa looking to stand their ground as Chelsea are hungry for more here. Of course, as we mentioned, Aston Villa won't have to wait too long to try and get some revenge on Chelsea with that FA Cup semi-final on the horizon. The first time Villa have made it to the last 4. There's Little John. Gregory. Despite what's happened here tonight, you do get the feeling that something special is building here at Aston Villa.
Yeah, like I said, it's all about the consistency with Aston Villa as well. Obviously, they've always been busy in the transfer market, but it's about getting the right players who fit Carla Ward's mentality and her vision for the club as well. And, you know, obviously a bit of long-term plan here as well. It's obviously a great season and their potential to finish the highest that they will have ever achieved as a club. Obviously, we're flirting with relegation the last few years, but it's a long-term plan, but she'll take positives. She won't obviously just define the season off of this result tonight. She'll see a lot of positives as well. Yeah,
Villa will have a say in the title race. Look at those games coming up for them in the WSL. But as you mentioned before, that Carla Ward wants to build a squad here and a playing style in her personality, lively, a smile on the face, entertain. But tonight, this has been a big ask against a Chelsea team that came out fighting from the off.
Yeah, I think Chelsea just set the trap tonight. You know, they know how Villa want to play. They was inviting them into the midfield, and obviously then Villa just turning the ball over. But Chelsea have been brilliant tonight, you know, and it's obviously, there's only so much that Aston Villa can do.
Looks like we're heading towards 3 additional minutes. That's Daly, here's Staniforth. He's had to fill in at right back tonight, not her natural position. Now Kenza Darley. Darley again, and Staniforth have made the run. Emma Hayes not far off, banking 3 priceless points here tonight. She's looking to deliver the dream of winning the Champions League 2 for Chelsea. Let's remind ourselves, she doesn't look at the table, but that's where Chelsea are right now. And the game in hand on Manchester United. And that goal difference could be key as well. Says one of their greatest qualities as a coach is being a salesperson. Emma Hayes. She did used to be a salesperson, used to run a bakery in Covent Garden. But she says selling the vision and the way of playing to the players is key, and they have to buy into it.
Oh, that old chestnut. She was a bit of a Del boy, was she?
Yes, used to sell theatre tickets as well. I don't mean yes, she was a bit of a Del boy, by the way. We're moving on. 3 additional minutes.
Minimum of 3 minutes added time. 3 minutes.
Well, Aston Villa are kept going. Can they find a way past Zecira Mušević? Next up in the league for Chelsea are Liverpool. Who did beat them earlier this season. They responded, Chelsea, by winning game after game after that. They responded to the league defeat at Manchester City by taking the points here, and they're not done yet. Johanna Rytting-Kaneryd. There's Cankovic.
I think Emma will be pleased tonight as well with a clean sheet. Obviously, as long as they can keep it for another 2 minutes, but they've looked solid at the back as well. It's hugely important, especially against teams like this as well, where it could have been difficult. They've looked strong and they've looked sturdy.
And that's without Millie Bright.
Yeah, she's a big loss for him, and hopefully she can come back sooner rather than later.
Buchanan, the stretch to get to that, with Daly waiting to pounce behind her. Cankovic. That's Carter, who was hunted down by Daly, who has a few words to say to her teammates.
Yeah, she's had a frustrated night tonight, Rachel Daly. I think she'd have wanted to have been a bit more influential at the top as well, and potentially have got a goal, but just been a frustrated night for Aston Villa.
Gregory into Daly, who took that hit from Buchanan. I saw one right at the end of the contest.
Yeah, she just goes straight into the back of Rachel Daly there and gets a booking for it too. Probably one of them ones that she doesn't really need to do.
Yeah, yellow card for Kadisha Buchanan right at the end of the game. Hannah Hampton will make her way forward to take this free kick. As Villa look to give their fans something to cheer right at the end of this game.
Move it back! Move it back! No. Move it back, I've asked you 3 times, move it
Hannah
back.
Hampton has been asked 3 times now, according to the referee, to move it back.
Move it back!
There's number 4.
Just blame the earring, you can't hear over the fans.
Now the free kick taken. And moved on, and waiting was Patton in the middle. Manchester United, the leaders, look over their shoulder and see Emma Hayes and Chelsea approaching. It's a show of strength from Chelsea tonight at Aston Villa. They've swatted Villa aside. Jelena Cankovic made it 1. Guro Reiten got the 2nd, and then Sam Kerr. Of course it was Sam Kerr. She made it 3. Goal number 50 for her in the WSL. Aston Villa have been on such a good run, but tonight they ran into the defending champions of England. It's finished. Aston Villa 0, Chelsea 3.